Hey guys, in this video we are going to hang out and check out some gear from Viltrox. This video is not sponsored by anyone. I went out and I bought all of this gear by myself just because I was curious to figure out if it's any good or if it's complete and utter garbage. Now we know that Viltrox makes some great lenses for the money, especially if you go out and buy a lens for $150. It's pretty hard to beat the value that you get with Viltrox, but does that apply to other random stuff that they have? Well, I'm going to be opening up some of these things right here live. I have a one B cam, C cam, and we're just going to jump straight into it. I'm going to start with this big old box because why not? So let's move this out of the way. This is called the K60 RGB light stick, and it is simply an RGB light stick similar to the two that I have mounted back there, but those are some other brand that I forgot. Those are pretty expensive. This thing was very, very cheap. All right, so you get a box. You get a nice little zippered case, which is cool, Viltrox branded. Open this bad boy up. And USB-C cable. It might be plastic, but it feels pretty heavy and substantial for what it is. See if it powers on. Viltrox on the bottom. So here's white, and that's 100%. Woo, it's not bad. It's actually pretty bright. So let me turn that down to about 10%. You can switch to all of these different modes. And my idea with this was to do a hair light. So right now you guys can't see, but I'll show you here on this camera. Right now my hair light is up there. It's just a little Zhiyun thing that doesn't actually go above my head. But I figured if I put a pole up there and extend it out and really mess up my office entrance and exit, well then I can have an actual real hair light that's just out of frame. Look at that. I can have a majestic glow in all of my videos. Compared to those LED bars behind me, this doesn't feel quite as premium in really any sense.
1 week later.
My genius knows no bounds because I have this light set up, and let me just show you guys. I think the real star of this show is this Ulanzi arm that you see is in this position. What I can do is move this arm down. You see that it's clamped to a shelf that I have right here. Lock this into place. So that is where it lives, and then if I want to turn it on, there we go. We have a blue hair light. This light has met my expectations. It's pretty good for the money. These ones, which are longer, admittedly, were $220 plus tax and all that fun stuff. So for a $70 2-foot long RGB light, I think this Viltrox is pretty good. Let's move on to the next one. This is the S05 Way light. Also another light. Let's open this thing up and see if it's any good. A whopping $24 US. So I'm not expecting it to do anything amazing, but you do get a little cold shoe mount, so you can put this on top of your camera. There's a USB-C cable in there I'm not going to get into. So this thing initially feels pretty cheap, I have to say. It's not the most advanced or high-tech grippy plastics. It's, yeah, it's just a cheap little light. So we'll turn it on and see if there's any power in here. And it's branded Wei light. This is the S05. Yeah, check that out. 4 buttons in total. They're a little bit hard to see, and let's see if we can crank it up. So 10% and 100%. It's not bad. This is pink. Special effects. So you have some flashing yellow lights, and then your typical color temperatures. Now, what's interesting about this, I don't think it has any fan built in. It's bright, but it's not that bright. 3100K, 100%. Lightweight, cheap, inexpensive, 25 bucks. It's not bad for 25 bucks.
1 week later.
Now, when it comes to this Way light, I still think it's a little bit too cheap for me to recommend. It's too cheap feeling. I mean, for the money, I guess it's not bad if you pick it up for $24. But I think that the weak point of this light is certainly the battery life. The battery is only 2000 milliamp hours, which doesn't give you a whole lot of time, especially if you're using this at 100%. as some sort of back fill light. If I were going to spend money on a compact light like this, I would probably look at maybe another option from Viltrox. For example, this one has triple the battery life at 6,000 milliamp hours. It's made by Viltrox. It's all metal in build. It has a nice color screen on the back, and it's $42.99 and then 5% off coupon. So you're looking at $40, an extra $15 to get all metal build, better construction, at least based on the pictures, and the reviews are better. I would say maybe spend a little bit more and get a nicer light. Now this one I was curious about because no one that I have seen, at least on the internet, has checked it out. This is the Viltrox BT FZ100, and FZ is the Sony Z-type battery. This is a charging case, which I think means that it has a battery built in and it charges the batteries as they're in the case, but I could be wrong. So there's a manual here and pretty simple packaging. There's a little carrying pouch. Now I saw something similar to this made by, I think it's Lano, it's 2 L's, A-N-O, on Amazon. And those seem to be pretty popular. So you have in and out, power delivery, 30 watt, USB-C on one side. You have a screen on the front that I would assume shows you battery life. And then that's pretty much it. Some info on the bottom, and then you open it up and you have space for 2 batteries, 2 FZ type batteries. So right now it says, wow, the case is at 56% charge, and I'm using 3 of my Z-type batteries, so I only have 1 left, unfortunately. So plug that in. So it shows the battery case has 56% charge, and you'll see that the battery indicator on the battery in there is blinking. If you ever catch yourself in a position where you forgot to charge your battery, you don't have access to an electrical outlet, this is a pretty handy thing to have around. It's on the pricier end of things. This thing was about $80 US, and then because it has a built-in battery, Viltrox charges, I think it was $20 extra to get this thing shipped over to the US. So I think I'm in this thing for about $100.
1 week later.
This battery pack is probably my favorite out of the 5 products that I did in this video, just because it's so convenient. It's nice to have. You're charging 2 batteries at once in a carrying case, and it's great to have something like this on the go if you forget a charger. So I think this is a good idea for a lot of people who travel with their cameras, which is the majority of people. But I am pretty upset because I paid $89 with shipping direct from Viltrox. What is the current price on Amazon? $69. If I would have just waited 1 week, I would have saved $20. That's just how it goes, I guess. Let's move on to, I'm gonna save this one for last. Let's move on to this. This is a very large box. It is the Viltrox DC-X2, and this is the most expensive thing that I picked up. It is a professional photographic monitor. It's a 6-inch HDMI in and out. If you look at the specs here, waveform monitoring, marking composition, image, 3D LUTs, touchscreen, short key, 3 power supply systems. I mean, this is decked out, and I've seen a couple of people make videos about this. I didn't actually watch those videos, so I don't know, but the thing that sold me on this monitor was when I looked at the website and I saw this spec right here, 2000 candela. So this should be very, very bright. Comes very nicely packaged. You have a zippered case here. At the top, you have a little HDMI to mini HDMI cable, then a regular HDMI cable. Then you have, oh man, barcodes on barcodes, manual, auxiliary tools, screen protector film, that's pretty cool. HD screen protector, so you can put a screen protector on it immediately. And then it even comes with Viltrox branded, this is Sony type batteries, MPF 550 type batteries in white, and that is a pretty nice little addition. Most monitors don't come with batteries. As far as when I've purchased them, I've never gotten one. A little hot shoe, cold shoe adapter for the monitor, but let's get to the main thing here. Has a Viltrox branded cage, so you can screw on all of your accessories. It's already installed, which is super nice. can see the battery mount on the back, so I'm going to slide this thing in right here. Color scheme, you know, it's gray and white, which is pretty good. Wow. So you have a little shade cover, dedicated sunshade that is already installed for you. This looks really quite good. So around the bottom, regular USB-A port, a USB Type-C port, and then a DC power port down here. Around the side, you have 2 HDMI ports and then a headphone jack for monitoring your audio. Then on this side, doesn't look like there are any buttons, just some vents and some threads for various stuff. And then power button on top, a couple of function buttons as well. So function 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then a back button. So you guys are gonna have to excuse my camera setup, but I need to record the back of the screen. And so I'm going to do a little cameraception here for you. If you tap on it twice, all the menus will pop up. It shows you battery level, your input. And the one thing that I noticed immediately is the fan noise is pretty loud. And this is something that the Ninja 5 that I used to record my YouTube videos suffers with all the time. I updated the firmware on it, and now you can kind of control it. And here, if you double tap, you can turn the fan noise to low. I don't know if that overheats it after a time or if it kicks back up to high after a time, but in here you have a whole bunch of stuff. You can import your own LUTs, so you can open that here. Wave 3D LUTs at the bottom. There's full waveform, RGB parade, don't know what that is. Vector scopes, histogram, volume bar. Let's see, you can turn on focus peaking, mode 1 and 2, that's some sort of waveforms. Zebras, you want to see what's overexposed. RGB colors. Unfortunately, some of this stuff is not labeled. Underscan and overscan. You can flip your mirror, and then you can scroll over. I wanted to see if there's any anamorphic de-squeezing options here. So markers, marker thickness. Oh, so here are all of your aspect ratios, 2.35 to 1, 1.85 to 1, 9 by 6. And you can go through that whole list. Magnification. Oh, and here we are. So if you're shooting with an anamorphic lens, this is really nice to have. So say your anamorphic lens is 1.3x, it will de-squeeze, and so you can see what the result looks like without it being compressed in the camera. So brightness, that is picture brightness, so you can turn that down or up without really affecting anything on the camera. Contrast, saturation, hue, sharpness, backlight. Here we go. Backlight. So that's 0% and 100%. Super bright, very nice. Color temperature, you can adjust that here as well. And then a whole bunch of other settings that I think we've touched upon. It's impressive. I thought this was going to be much worse than it is. Pleasantly surprised by this monitor setup. Nice and bright, nice and compact. Runs off of those FZ batteries, so you cannot go wrong with it, I think. So I'll link all these things down below if you guys are interested in checking them out.
1 week later.
So I've had this monitor for a week and overall impressions are the same. It's a very well built body. I like the fact that the cage comes with it. I like the fact that it comes with a battery. It comes with the sunscreen. It's super bright. It's nice. The colors I wouldn't say are super accurate, but I didn't mess with them enough to where I can tweak them to make them look as good as they needed to look. The thing that I noticed is the battery life is not great with these super compact batteries. That's why I use much larger ones. They're probably triple the width on my Atomos Ninja 5. So I'd recommend that if you plan on using this monitor for longer than about a couple of hours. But for the money, again, everything comes back to the money, right? The Atomos Ninja 5 is a great monitor. I love using it, even though it's kind of noisy, but it's $599. So $600 versus this base is $200 right now on Amazon. It does not have built-in recording though. This is really a field monitor designed for those who want to go out and shoot and see what their camera sees on a larger screen with LUTs applied in the bright sun, all of that fun stuff. So it's still pretty good, but for me, I don't know that it's replacing anything. But now let's wrap up by talking about this last item here. This is a vintage on-camera flash. And this was actually what initially got me excited about all this stuff, because I saw this and I was like, This doesn't make sense. Why are they making flashes and why does it look so cool? So this is what got me to buying, and then I couldn't help myself. So warranty card, similar to like a little lens packaging here. So the flash, and then this is a little diffuser. So nice and simple. Wow. So it is plastic. It's not the most premium feeling thing in the world. I'll give you guys a little tour here. It's not that it feels super premium. It is just painted silver plastic. This part does feel a little cheap. There is a rubberized leatherette Viltrox branding here. You can see the lens looks pretty good. It's all plastic, info on the bottom. So you mount it up on top, screw it down to secure it, off and manual. All right, so you turn it on and there's a little red light and now it's glowing green. And you can adjust the power, full power, half power, and then it goes down to 1/64 power. That little dial is a little on the cheap side. On-off button is a cool little touch though. I like that. I like the gold accent and this little lever. And again, there's that little light. Flashes, it's red, now it's green, so it's recharged.
1 week later.
This flash kind of surprised me. It's still undeniably cheap feeling, but it works right out of the box. So you turn it on, plug it into your camera, and it works right away. And I'll show some examples of what this does. On-camera flash is probably the worst place to put your flash, but that's how they did it back in the olden days, so it kind of makes for some nostalgia and retro-inspired vibes, I guess. I like the fact that it has a built-in battery, although admittedly this is going to be tough if you are using something like this in a professional environment. First of all, I probably wouldn't do that, but if you run out of power, you will have to plug this in via USB-C and charge it versus just swapping out some AA's or AAA's in a typical flash. And also, I don't like that you can't tilt it up or down. You can't bounce it off a ceiling or a wall. I like the control. It's very simple. It's intuitive. The design is pretty good. I wish it was more compact, but for the money, again, it's on sale right now for 40 bucks, I think, 44 or 40 bucks. You can't go wrong if you want something like this for that vintage-esque retro-inspired look. Hopefully this video was interesting and fun for you guys. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. What was your favorite product out of the things that I bought? Anything catch your eye? I'll leave links to everything down below as always. Thank you so much for watching. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.